All right, joining us on this Pollen Monday edition of Pirate Radio Live.
That's how I started my show today, talking about
Man,
the pollen.
BB Brian Bailey, your guest, Daryl Roberts, talked about it as well,
He
I
did.
believe.
And
So.
he talked about it with that deep voice.
Or was that Barry White joining you?
I know.
on
That's
the
what I
show?
was thinking the same thing.
I like Coach Roberts.
I do too.
Subdued today for him, but, man, he is Mr. Energy. In fact, Rajay Harris, when I asked him last week, who's the guy to give the pep talk, who's the guy to get the team going if they need to, he said Coach Roberts was that guy. And I know he's a big recruiter as well. We're glad to have him here at ECU.
Oh, most certainly. And some of the things he said about playing or coaching with John David Baker, I mean, you know, just to hear the enthusiasm. Sometimes you can tell most of the time when somebody's talking to you if they're not sincere.
Yeah.
But you can hear the sincerity in his voice, and you can tell that, hey, you know, when John David Baker got that job, that he was ecstatic, and he says that they work together so well, and it's great for Pirate football.
This is an important spring for Blake Harrell, obviously his first as the head man, Bailey, and they are trying to see what they have. I think defensive line has been a lot of the talk with all those guys, Big Taya, Elijah Morris, Sarad Ware moving on, so that is a key spot there. And just trying to figure out what they got and also how they can implement some new players into this program.
Yeah, and it's very difficult because you're always in change. It's always changing now with the transfer portal and everything else. So it's like, you know, you wake up one morning, you may have one team. The next morning, you may wake up, your team may be a little different. But I think for the most part, what those guys have preached is exactly what Steve Logan has preached back in his day, and maybe Bill Lewis back in his day. But you want Pirates that want to be Pirates, and you can tell when a guy's kind of checking out, and you can tell when a guy is 100% in, and you got to find Pirates that want to be Pirates.
There was probably a time, 20, 30 years ago, whatever, you could make a depth chart at the end of spring. Pretty similar to early September, right? Now, with players.
It could still now, but you're right. With players going in and out,
I think this roster is going to look a lot different in September than it does now.
I hope it doesn't look a lot different, but it will look different. And I think, and you're right. And it's fascinating where we've come in college athletics. And you keep thinking that sometime you're going to wake up and there's going to be some ruling from, Congress or the NCAA, and they're going to go back to how it should be. But hadn't happened yet, has it?
Everybody will pay players illegally again, like the good old days.
That's right, like the good old days.
Man, I've been spinning this baseball season, and it's not spin because I legitimately feel this way, that I kind of like that, we're going to have to fight for it this year and maybe even go win in Clearwater to get into the tournament. Now, that doesn't mean I want to lose 3 games to FAU.
Right.
I don't want it to be that tough. But, man, brutal weekend at Clark LeClaire Stadium. Pirates get run ruled on Saturday, and man, it's a mess right now. Now, they were coming off 5 straight wins, so they can easily bounce back, beat State tomorrow, and you're feeling a lot different about the situation. But that was a rough one this weekend, obviously.
It really was, and especially when you think about the fact that Florida Atlantic was coming off a sweep of UTSA. So, the word is South Florida is really good, UTSA is really good, and we think East Carolina is really good. I still think they're really good. I think they're young. I think they make some young team-type mistakes, and they've got to get some of that corrected. But they've got to – all of a sudden they got to grow up in a hurry. Because not that every loss is monumental, but those 3 really hurt you in getting swept. And we've been, I guess spoiled through the years that, the Pirates do the sweeping at Clark LeClaire.
Yeah.
And for a team to come in here and do that. Yeah. And the run rule game was, man, it was just the ball was flying out of Clark LeClaire, and the team that was putting it in orbit wore the other color jersey.
And, man, it can flip so fast. A couple of Ethan Norby pitches on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes from a Pirate lead to a Pirate deficit just like that. And you're like, man, what happened? So we've been counting on Ethan. He's been so awesome this year to get that Friday win and then try to win the series Saturday or Sunday. But when that went down, it kind of said, uh-oh, because the Pirates just don't have that top-end pitching. They've looked good in conference play leading up to this weekend, but did not have it this weekend.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of like, was it 22 when they had, TBA? To be announced was like 14-2, I think, on the year. I mean, they always had a TBA. Now they're going TBA for Saturday and Sunday, but they haven't really found the guy that they want to send out there and try to get 4 or 5 strong innings out of, and maybe that's just the makeup of this team. It's funny because when you get in tournament play, that's pretty much what you got.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of this is going to pay dividends down the line. And it's just a matter of, like if they were going to the tournament next week, you would have to think that you throw Norby first because you want to get that first win to stay in the winner's bracket. But then after that, it's just, Katie bar the door and just put whoever you can get some people out with.
And when's the last time the Pirates went to Clearwater having to win?
Yeah, it's been a long time. And even when they've gone and as a second or third place team, it's been a situation where they were pretty much, they knew they were going to make the tournament. They had that kind of record, that kind of RPI. But, this year they may have to go to Clearwater, and they may have to win the whole thing.
Ryan Bailey joining us, trying to get through this segment. I'm having a coffee fit. Man, still shocked at what we saw the other night. And you didn't see it because you were sleeping.
I did. I slept. I hate to admit that because
I gave up on it.
Well, because I hate when people say, "Yeah, I went to bed." But it was one of those long days, and I thought, Duke's going to win this thing by 10, 12, 14 points. I like Duke. I like watching him play. I like Cooper Flagg. I like Knipple. I think he's a really good player. They've got other good players as well. But the way they fell apart at the end, it was just fascinating. And I do think the foul call on Cooper Flagg was a bad call. But I think you get in that situation, you can't let the game come down. If you're better than the other team, you can't let it come down to a call like that, because a call like that can happen, and it did.
And we're not talking about one of the all-time bonehead plays when the Houston player hits the ball out of bounds and gets a technical foul.
Right, that's right.
Late in the game. And he himself is hitting himself on the head, like, why did I do that? But Duke makes a free throw there, and I think doesn't score when they get the ball out of bounds. And Houston hit some clutch threes down the stretch with Cryer and Sharp, and they are just tough. They are tough for 40 minutes. You gotta play them for 40 minutes.
Right.
Cliche. Bailey.
You can't play for 38.
Man.
Just ask Duke. I mean, yeah, you're right. You got to play all 40. And just some of the mistakes that Duke made down the stretch were really surprising, because that just doesn't happen to a well-coached Duke team. I mean, Coach K had to be squirming in his seat as he was watching it. And I think John Shire's an excellent coach. I think he's a great guy. But you got a loss like that, it's going to hurt you for a while. I mean, you don't get over something like that very quickly.
And we saw Florida make a comeback as well. They were down, 8, I think, at halftime against Auburn. And they go on a run. Man, they, much like Duke, can go on a run just like that. And they might have the best player. Well, Cooper Flagg's the best player in the country, but Walter Clayton, the guard.
He was really good the other night.
Is having
Did he have 34?
Yeah, Kimball Walker-esque, like one of those just runs in the tournament. He was compared to Steph Curry in the run that Steph Curry went on with Davidson, but he has put on quite a show, and makes for a fun championship game tonight. Two really good teams.
I think so. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing Houston's toughness against the Florida, offensive attack, and just to see how it goes. And again, it's on a little earlier this year, so that's good for those that might want to go to bed.
If Houston's down 10 with 2 minutes left, are you going to go to bed tonight?
No, I'm working tonight, so I won't be going to bed. I won't be doing sports for the pillow.
So we'll be seeing you after the championship game.
We'll be on after the championship game.
Got your old your tree branch, Zach Maskovich, joining us.
Yes, very proud of Zach. Done a great job down in Orlando, and he took a chance on himself, and I give him a lot of credit, because when he left us at Channel 9, he didn't have anything in the business, and most of the time when that happens, you get out of the business. You find something else. You decide to get your family started or whatever, and he waited and got this opportunity in Orlando, which is a great market. All kinds of sports going on. He's had a chance to cover some great things, and he's covering a great thing this weekend at the Final Four.
Check in with him, get his thoughts on Houston and Florida, and man, looking forward to it tonight. I will finish second in the second chance with the Sweet 16. If Houston wins tonight, I will finish second in our bracket challenge to Mac McCarthy.
Oh, Coach Mac, congratulations.
If Houston loses, I will finish third to intern Hayden. So was right there at the end, but could not seal the deal. But it has been this has been one of the least fun tournaments to watch, I would say, from a Cinderella upset, buzzer beater perspective. From a good team perspective, it's been a pretty good tournament. But talked about it at the end of your show today, Bailey. I think the Cinderellas will be back.
I think so too. And one of the great games involved Houston, and one of the great plays at the end when it was 60-60 with Purdue.
The inbound play, yeah.
The inbounds play when we all know, and when we're in Little League basketball, somebody's got to cover the guy throwing the ball inbounds, and Purdue didn't, and it cost them.
Both of these teams great down the stretch. You think, should Florida be in this game? Remember, they had to come back and beat Texas Tech in a big way. So both of these, you kind of, the old cliche, man, you got to win one of those games if you're going to win a championship. UConn proved last year, no, you don't. You can just blow everybody out. I thought that was what Duke was going to do this year. But turns out one of these teams will win, and they have had to come back to do it. So I think we'll see a good one tonight, and the line indicates that.
Yeah, 1.5.
I'd like to go back and see the closest lines ever in a championship game, because we're at 1.5 in this one.
And you're talking about the fact that you have to win one of those games. You remember when Virginia won their national championship, and they won a couple of games that they really had no business. You know, they had fouled on a 3-point shot one time, and they made 3 free throws. And
one of those was on the crazy, was it a missed free throw, tap back, crazy pass?
K.A. Clark made one of the greatest passes in NCAA tournament history. Then he came back a couple of years later and threw one of the worst passes when Virginia was ready to beat Davidson, was it?
Wofford?
No.
Furman.
Was it Furman? Okay. But they had the ball, and he tried to throw it down court. They pick it off, hit a 3, and Virginia was out.
There you go. Man, fun time of the year. Now we go on to Masters Week. And,
that's fun.
And you been there?
No, have not. It's on the bucket list, and I get to this point every year, and I think, man, I'd love to go down there just to walk around and see everything. But I always put my name into the drawing. I never have won anything, but I would like to do that. That's certainly on the bucket list.
Derby? You a Derby guy?
No, that's not really on my derby list, on my bucket list. But I would go if I had the right opportunity, because I think that would be neat. When we were down in Louisville for the Super Regional that time, I mean, we walked from our hotel down to a little pizza place, a bunch of us, and then somebody said, "That's Churchill Downs over there." And I was like, where? And I looked across the street, and there's Churchill. I always had imagined that Churchill Downs was in the middle of this great big field out in the country somewhere. But it wasn't. It was right there in downtown Louisville.
Pretty cool. Cool. Brian Bailey joining us. You can see him after the game on WNCT at Channel 9. Come watch the game at the Buck. We're playing sports trivia tonight during the championships. That'll be fun.
Well, that'd be fun.
All right, BB, thanks for joining us, man. Check out the Brian Bailey Show. Great chat with Darrell Roberts, East Carolina receivers coach.
He did a great job. It was a lot of fun.
See you, BB.
All right.